What if a house wasn't just a place to live, but a declaration of independence? What if architecture could whisper rebellion, not with slogans, but with geometry? In 1927, in the heart of post-revolutionary Moscow, one architect raised a structure so radical, so personal, it defied the Soviet obsession with collectivism and rewrote the rules of domestic design. This is the story of the Melnikov House, a living laboratory, a manifesto in mortar, and a portrait of a man who chose to build freedom in brick. By 1927, Moscow was a city reborn under ideology. 10 years after the Russian Revolution, the Soviet Union had become a laboratory of utopias, social, industrial, and architectural. The elite spoke of 5-year plans, mass housing, and collectivized futures. Architecture wasn't art. It was infrastructure, a tool to mold the new Soviet citizen. Against this backdrop emerged Konstantin Melnikov, a constructivist by training, a visionary by temperament. And in 1927, in a city racing toward industrial uniformity, Melnikov did the unthinkable. He designed and built a private residence. Melnikov had no official right to build a house in Moscow. But in 1927, the Soviet state granted him a narrow, wedge-shaped plot in the Arbat district. It was a plot meant to limit him too narrow, too awkward, too constrained. To most, it would have been a rejection. To Melnikov, it was an opportunity. From that plot, he envisioned a structure that rejected convention: 2 interlocking cylinders, nearly 30 feet in diameter, stacked and spiraled without columns, without ornament, without precedent. It was unlike anything Moscow or the world had seen. The Melnikov House, completed in 1929, stood as a structural provocation. The 2 cylinders were built with load-bearing brick walls, no interior columns, no beams, no steel skeleton. Instead, the skin held everything. 60 hexagonal windows, no 2 quite the same, perforated the shell, like an insect's compound eye. Each frame wasn't just aesthetic, it was structural. It distributed load, it channeled light, it dissolved boundaries. And inside, the ground floor, a working artist's studio. The middle, family living and dining spaces. The top floor, contemplative solitude beneath a domed ceiling. All connected by a narrow staircase, rising through the house like a spine. No rooms were rectangular, no 2 ceilings the same. It wasn't a house you lived in, it was a house you moved through, like a body of thought. In an era obsessed with collective housing, Melnikov dared to build a house for one man himself. The Melnikov House wasn't just a home, it was a manifesto. Where his peers explored modular repetition, Melnikov celebrated variation. Where rationalists sought economy, Melnikov insisted on poetry. He called the house his living laboratory, a space where he could test materials, light, space, and himself. It stood quietly but undeniably in opposition. No facade, no symmetry, no Soviet banners. Just form pure, geometric, intentional. Melnikov's process was as unconventional as the result. There were no finished blueprints, just studies, sketches, geometry, and trust. Bricklayers built as Melnikov adjusted on site. He supervised every joint, every curve, every window angle. It was designed by intuition, yes, but also by deep structural understanding. The house wasn't perfect. It cracked, it leaked, it puzzled the neighbors. But it stood and still stands nearly a century later. Because it wasn't built to last forever. It was built to prove that architecture could be free. By 1932, Stalin crushed the avant-garde. Constructivism was declared elitist. Modernism, dangerous. Melnikov was blacklisted, his teaching license revoked. He was never commissioned again. But he remained inside his house, living, sketching, remembering. He painted murals in the stairwell. He rebuilt broken beams. He raised his family. The house became his world, and the world increasingly forgot him. Until decades later, long after his death in 1974, the architectural world rediscovered what he had created. Today, the Melnikov House is protected as a cultural treasure. It stands in central Moscow, unchanged, unrestored, and still radical. It's not just studied by architects, it's felt by them. Melnikov's work predicted the future by refusing to copy the present. It showed that architecture doesn't have to be monumental to be powerful. A house can be a protest, Geometry can be ideology. Even now, visitors to the house describe a strange sensation. You don't walk through it, you spiral into it. Melnikov never built again, but his house remains his greatest argument. That even in a state of conformity, an individual can carve a space for thought, for light, for rebellion. But what happens when the architect doesn't build for himself, but for thousands? Concrete as collective utopia, a new manifesto, a new challenge, a new experiment in how we live together. Click to continue the journey. If you believe architecture is more than structure, that it's emotion made spatial, that it can challenge, provoke, and heal, then join us. Subscribe to Space Shape and Scale, and follow the chronological journey through modern architecture's most revolutionary minds. Because architecture never stops, and neither do we.